Hi friends, welcome to today's video. I'm so excited because today I have Jeff ROLKA on here to talk to you about the secondo passaggio, especially when it comes to tenors and baritones. So if you're a male singer, you're gonna want to stay tuned for this one. Hi and welcome to today's video. If you don't know me yet, my name is Freya, professional singer and vocal coach from Germany. And today I'm doing a collaboration with Jeff ROLKA. He has an awesome channel. I'm gonna put the link to his channel below. Lots of awesome singing advice. I respect him so much because he's very knowledgeable and he does lots of really cool warm-ups. So if you're interested in just getting new ideas and getting the right technique down at the same time, you have to check out his channel, subscribe, and let him know that I sent you. There's also a video on his channel today where I teach a lesson to sopranos about the primo passaggio. So every soprano here today, you can also jump over there and watch that video. Comment below his video and let him know you came from my channel. And well, without further ado, here is Jeff.
Hello! Thank you so much, Freya, for that awesome introduction. My name's Jeff. Baritones, tenors, best practices as well as I can think of for navigating the secondo passaggio. Now, a rose by any other name would smell as sweet. But there's very few things that are sweet about the secondo passaggio until you really get it under your your grips. You get it under control there. And then the colorations of tone and the expressivity and the varieties of things that we can do there, I think is quite fantastic. Now, when I talk about the secondo passaggio, I'm talking about the break. Or maybe if you are a CVT practitioner, you might think of it as M2, I believe is how they refer to it. In any case, for most tenors and baritone vocalists, this is going to fall somewhere between D4 and G4. Yes, absolutely there are voices that fall outside those parameters, but the vast majority of tenors and baritones fall into that category. Now, this is not to be thought of as the highest possible note I can squeeze out before everything comes flashing off of the vocal folds. That's not the kind of balance that's going to result in a really seamless transition back and forth across the secondo passaggio. But I've got a lot of exercises that I'm going to share with you, some ways to balance out phonation. I don't really talk a lot throughout the course of the videos except to introduce exercise and try to get us all singing. I will, however, in this video probably have to interject a few times just so that you know what to listen for. To start, we're going to do a 1-octave descending arpeggio, and we're going to start with the lip trill. I teach the lip trill with 2 fingers, just gently squeezing in on the lips. This takes a little bit of the weight of the lips off of the teeth, makes it a bit easier to do the exercise. This has the effect of still keeping that semi-occluded exercise in place without making it too hard for us, and we can really take advantage of what this does for the vocal fold. Now, we're looking for this balanced transition, and we're going to descend an octave here. The top pitch, we want to be above the secondo passaggio, or above the break. And with the lip trill, it'll sound, hopefully, something like that. As we descend below it, going to the 5th scale degree, that one, we want to be able to rock over down into the zona di passaggio area, that area of transition. Ultimately getting into our thyroarytenoid dominant singing voice, our chest voice at the bottom. If the top pitch sounds airy, or it's really squeezy, that's not quite the right sound. See if you can yawn a little bit, perhaps, so that you get nice vocal fold deduction or closure, but still good airflow. Let's try some. Let's try that one more time. And successful with that, let's try to keep that same profile of sound where it's kind of hollow sounding at the octave and then it gradually gets narrower or more speech-like as we descend with an oo vowel with a Y at the front of it. You, 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 you. Definitively hollow at the top. You, you, you. Very narrow at the bottom. You, 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 you. And maybe one more. Let's do that again. And now, if you've been successful, let's descend and then ascend back, and then descend back down again. The key here is to get the octaves to sound the same both times that we sing them. So, you, 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 you. What we're doing here is establishing the skill that we can descend and change out of our upper register, and then change back into the upper register from the bottom. And you, 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 you. And remember, if you ever have trouble, try it with the lip trill. Let's do that again. And descend with you, ascend with you, descend with we. Sounds like this. You, 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 we. Here we're learning to get that E vowel to be in that upper register and match tone quality wise the oo vowel. We're looking for the same kind of phonation. In other words, above the secondo passagio, but with an adducted, I almost said abducted. Abducted is separated, adducted is together, or closed vocal fold. You, 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 we. And one more. And let's do this one more time. And now, if you've been successful with the E vowel, this is a very good gateway into narrowing the interval that is right around the secondo passagio. and then getting closer and closer to scale-wise practice across this area. It's the scale-wise practice that we have to get to really start to match tone quality across the secondo passagio. Up till now, the space between the tonic and the fifth is a perfect fourth. Now, let's do a minor third in the form of a triad. Now, for some of us, if we're a baritone and we're going to start here, it's possible that the third could also be above the secondo passagio for you or right at it. You might wait a semitone or two to come in. This can avoid a little bit of confusion in the formation of your technique. If you're already comfortable with this, then I would encourage you to jump right in and get started with it, because you're practicing that balancing act of being right on top of the secondo passagio. For most tenors, we won't really be getting to that, though you may find that later on we're right on your secondo passagio at the fifth scale degree. Let's actually begin in D flat major. Let's begin with wee, 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 wee. And here on that descending scale, you've got to try to make those incremental adjustments as you start above the secondo passagio and eventually end up below. Here we'll be ending somewhere in the zona di passaggio for most of us, but we're going to descend from here. And wee, 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 wee. Let's do that again. And now, same pattern, different rhythm, sounds like this. It is also melismatic on the descending scale. And now let's add a vowel to the last three notes of the melisma. Sounds like this. And if you've been successful there, all A on the descending melismatic scale, you can start it with an M if you like. Sounds like this. If everything's going well, and again, go back to the lip trill on any of this stuff if you find it tricky. Let's take a look at the ascending scale. We're going to start here in the key of G major. We're going to start with the NG sound on a pattern that has a third and a fifth in it, and it sounds like this. So, hung. It's like if you say the word hung, hung, and you hold on to that last syllable, you'll feel the rear of your tongue go all the way to the top of the rear of your mouth, and it's going to shoot all that air out of your nose. This is very, very helpful in terms of balancing phonation. So we're really starting to get into balancing the tone quality of our vowels as we are making our way through the zona di passaggio and ultimately over the secondo passaggio. What we're listening for here is a consistency in the buzz of the NG sound. So as I continue to go up, it's going to stay that kind of, it's not a particularly pleasant sound really, but it's letting us know that the singer's formant is in sufficient supply to connect the tone quality of our voices across the secondo passaggio. If we allow it to fall back too much, we'll get that sound in our voices as opposed to so again, let's do that again. And if that has been successful for you, now the world of vocal pedagogy and vowel choice in that realm are open to you. And it's that ultimately gets us to get consistent tone quality across the secondo passaggio and throughout the zona di passaggio. So in your practice, A is a great, I think of it as the gateway vowel because it opens quite nicely into the wider vowels if you want to think about them that way, like ah and o. And it also equally kind of funnels us into the narrower ones like e and oo without allowing them to squeeze too much and cut off the flow of air. So when we're practicing this, A is a great vowel to start with. As we keep on on making those vowel modifications throughout the zona de passaggio and then across the secondo passaggio, maintaining that brilliance in our voices to make that transition really sound consistent. What we're looking for is voce piena in testa, the sound of chest voice in head. And these practices are great for it. So you've done A and A, you can also do A and O. A, O, and. Let's do that again. And. Many times we are asked to sing melodies that are greater than a perfect fifth. These exercises have all been a perfect fifth. And if you've been successful up to this point, connect, 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 connect. We're looking for legato. And even if the transitions through the zona de passaggio and over the secondo passaggio are quite obvious and evident to you, that is okay. The point here is to move through these ranges and through these registers of our voices. U and E, and. Some of the exercises that I use to help vocalists get across the secondo passaggio, make it as smooth as possible, and integrate it into the greater aspects of their ranges so they get the most use of their voice. My name's Jeff. Thank you so much, Freya, for having me. I really, truly appreciate it. I hope this helps. I sign off by saying, take really good care of your voices, enjoy singing, and hopefully, Freya,